Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Here is a question. This question has been asked many times. Why everyone is teaching Kriya differently, means Kriya techniques differently. Yet they call it original technique of Mahavatar Babaji. What to give an answer? If I give a just one line answer, this will be unpleasant to many people. But I will give it. When someone asks me, do you teach original technique of Mahavatar Babaji? My answer is, I don't know. Why? I was not a witness when Mahavatar Babaji was teaching to Lahidi Baba. Nor I am a direct recruit of Mahavatar Babaji. So how can I say what I teach is the original technique of Mahavatar Babaji? What I say is, what are the techniques taught in Puri Ashram of Sri Yukteswar Ji in 1970s, I teach the same. Because I have verified it with those people who has learned in 1970s from Puri Ashram. What are the techniques? So I have checked it. So I say, what I have learned that time, that I am teaching. Whether these techniques are authentic? Yes. How can I know the authentic? One thing, when I teach a technique, we have to apply certain logical analysis. Does this technique follow the rationality of yoga? Rationality of our inner body system, of prana, of three bodies, gross body, subtle body and causal body, of the Pancha Kosha principle, Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manamaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha, to reach to the state of self. So, and body physiology, of course, the modern science of body physiology and neural science. We have to apply that rationality. If it is there, then yes, the technique is correct. But very important aspect is to go to the scriptures, because scriptures describe the technique. People may say this is the secret technique of Babaji, I only know. No, techniques are described in Upanishads, techniques are described in Agama Shastras, techniques are described in Yoga Shastras. So, one who will find, not in one place, one will not find one technique here, one technique there, one technique there. This module has many techniques, and this is given in a modular form by Mahavatar Babaji to Lahidi Baba, and there can be another module. There can be different modules, and we cannot say that if module is different, it is not Kriyayoga. No, the techniques are described, and we have, this is one module, and we have to go through just the module. The techniques, how we will know? If it is described in the scriptures, if it follow the scriptural injunctions, if it follow the rationality, then we can say that this is a authentic technique. Then why people are teaching differently? The thing is that, as I said, my one line answer, which will be unpleasant, that is just a marketing strategy. This will not sound good to many people. Because if all are teaching the same technique that has been taught by Mahavatar Babaji to Lahidi Baba, then, and 10 different people teaching differently, then one is right and 9 others are not right. 10 cannot become right. Or 10 different people all learned from Mahavatar Babaji, and Mahavatar Babaji taught them differently, then the techniques can be different. Because nowadays we find everyone is claiming that I am the direct disciple of Mahavatar Babaji. When Babaji taught to Lahidi Baba, asked him to spread this among the householders. Why, I don't know, Babaji suddenly changed the mind that I should directly teach to hundreds of people so that they will be going and teaching. I don't know. Either a person who claims that I have directly learned from the Mahavatar Babaji is a highly evolved Atman, is in very high status in spiritual ladder of evolution, or a simply cheat. Both cannot go together, either this or that. So I am not one to tell about who is what. It is the wisdom of the people applying the logic, applying the common sense. Otherwise, Mahavatar Babaji came and I had tea with me, then with Babaji Airways I went to the Himalayas, and then all these things, stories, looks good to read, sounds good to the ear, but how far these are correct, that if someone applies the common sense will know. Now here, why it is becoming different? If we look into all these aspects, I have already discussed the secrecy aspect of the Kriya Yoga. Why secrecy and what are the demerits of the secrecy? You can go and listen to that video. There you will find that how secrecy was into, what is the purpose of secrecy and why, what are the demerits of the secrecy. Now what happens, the demerits of the secrecy is, there is addition, there is deletion, and there is alteration. And many alterations are not rational, not according to the scriptures. That is the problem. Suppose someone learned something from his guru, then he became a guru, but he has not learned all the techniques. Now how he will teach? Some people add something, that there comes, that is the problem. Problem is there. And this, we will find that in a technique there is a core technique. That is the main Kriya, Kriya proper. Then there are complementary techniques and supplementary techniques, like Mahamudra is a complementary technique. Jyoti Mudra, Sambhavi Mudra are supplementary techniques. Guru Pranam is a complementary technique. Hamsa Sadhana, we can call it also a core technique. This is a core technique as well as also complementary technique, both. Then there are preparatory techniques like in Abhikriya. Now, present day we are finding distortions in all, in a complementary technique and in a core technique. This is because there is not proper adaptation. Over the ages, even what, from my experience I see that what are the techniques taught in 1970s, when it comes to the beginning of this century, by 2002, 2003, these are changed. So that is the law of the nature. That is why time to time this technique is lost and someone again comes and establishes the technique. So main cause of this is the secrecy aspect. People don't know. People do not read the scriptures and see if it is following the rules of the scriptures. People do not apply rationality, they simply blindly follow in good faith. Now, someone follows in good faith, we cannot blame him. Only thing is that when the person who has not learned properly and has not applied these things, then things will be like this. This is natural. This is the law of the nature. So we have to apply our reasoning. We have to read the books, original scriptures, find the techniques there. Whatever the principle, as I said, of prana and the body, Sarira Tattva, the principle of body, if they are followed or not. then we can say a technique is authentic or not. But definitely telling that this is the technique of Mahavatar Babaji, that is not possible. People say it is good, and those who follow them, if they follow with rationality or if they follow blindly, it is their choice. I don't have to tell anything about it. So that is why not learning properly, not learning all the techniques, then while learning there is distortions in the adaptation of learning by different students, and when they become guru, the problem arises. That is the thing. That is why different people teaching things differently. But if teaching differently, that does not mean that it is wrong. Teaching differently, if it follows the scripture, if it follows the core, like for example, I can give you, we all learned mathematics in our school days. There is a principle of addition. So we learn what this is the principle of addition. But different exercises, different books, they have different exercises. Exercises can vary. One who is a mathematician, he can write a book and different exercises. But the principle of addition will remain the same. If a principle of addition is the same, exercises are different, that is not a problem. That is not any wrong thing. But if the principle is, there is a mistake, then it is a problem. So in this way we have to understand why there are differences in the techniques. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.